We have already seen massive backlash towards Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, and we've been seeing it for months and months. When the rumors and then the official reports started of Lupita Nyong'o playing Helen of Troy, of all people, in this movie, let alone the casting of Elliot Page, regardless in whatever role she is going to play. Elliot Page, the artist formerly known as Ellen Page, a woman who is pretending to be a man in this movie set as a Greek epic, right? A lot of things didn't make sense with the casting, let alone Zendaya as Athena. All of these things that have played a role in the mounting backlash towards Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And it certainly didn't help things when Lupita Nyong'o responds to racist casting backlash saying, this is a mythological story. Well, you know what? It's not African mythology. It's a Greek story. That's why people are shocked that Helen of Troy is being played by a black woman. And they're rightly puzzled as to why Christopher Nolan would make this decision. Well, now they finally showed Helen of Troy, or at least Lupita Nyong'o, who's playing Helen of Troy, and her sister for some reason in this movie. They finally got their first glimpse in a trailer, and it did not go well for Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey trailer gets massively ratioed, nearly 3-to-1 dislikes to likes. And that has gotten a whole lot worse over the past few days. Look at these numbers. 443,000 dislikes to 61,000 likes. And the comment section, if you don't believe that these numbers are representative, blah, 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 go to the comments section. All we got to do is look at the comments and you can see where this is at, which we'll get to. But first, let's actually watch a little bit of this trailer because I have not got to do a reaction to this trailer on stream. This happened while I was on my trip to DC. It's when it came out, so I haven't talked about this, even though it's been out for a few days. Let's watch the trailer.
Odysseus. Don't you remember?
That is our first look, I believe, at Athena. Zendaya's Athena, by the way.
Thunder. Fire. Death.
I remember a wife, a son. Home.
Ithaca's a kingdom waiting for a king. My dad is coming home. They're pining for a daddy he didn't even know. Like some sniveling bastard.
Now, I think it's interesting that they kept that in there because that language, the use of dad and daddy by Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson, it just stands out in what should be, you're supposed to feel like this is thousands and thousands of years ago, right? That's supposed to be the vibe. That's supposed to be the feeling of this. And I get it that even in ancient Greek, they had more like familial ways and less formal ways of saying the word father that would translate to daddy or dad nowadays. But the problem is when you're watching this on screen, that really takes you out of the feeling like this is supposed to be thousands of years ago. You're pining for a daddy. It's just weird. And that got backlash in the first trailer that was released. And here it is again in this trailer.
Ithaca's king is coming back.
Bringing vengeance. Bringing it all.
I could take this room.
They're not giving up power to you or Odysseus. Do you think life goes back to the way it was?
That world is gone.
If you return, he'd have to kill her, like you will.
You gods don't speak in ways we understand.
Who doesn't understand pain? Or blood? The gods told you.
Then I defy.
Now, there we go. We get our first good look, because we did see Elliot Page. We did see her in one of the trailers earlier. This is the first really good look. And, rough. Hormones not treating you all that well, are they? Welcome to the life of a man. That's rough aging right there. But we also get the first look at supposedly the face that launched 1,000 ships, Helen of Detroit, right here. And look, these two images back to back in this trailer. The entire trailer, I don't think it's a great trailer, but I also don't think it's worthy of a massive wave of dislikes. What is worthy of a massive wave of dislikes are when you shove this in front of people who have a problem with these castings. Because regardless of how well or little people know the Odyssey, they know that Helen of Troy wasn't fucking black. They know in this Greek epic, this poem, this story that has been that Greeks have held dear to their hearts and has continued to resonate through the years, the centuries, the millennia, and is still relevant today, the Odyssey. They know that it was a Greek story, and they know that Helen of Troy wasn't fucking black, right? People know that. Instinctually, they know that. This is why this trailer's getting ratioed, but let's watch it to the end.
The gods told you.
Then I defy the gods.
The Odyssey, there it is. And should we take a look at this comment section? Look at those dislikes. My Lord, that's a lot of dislikes. The funniest part is the comment section is still open. The face that emptied 1,000 seats. The face that launched 1,000 huhs. This makes Meet the Spartans look like a documentary. Look at me. I am the Helen now. Shout out to Universal for leaving the comments on. The face that launched 1,000 shits. Likes 60K, dislikes 429. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Peak Hollywood garbage. The Odyssey, Downtown LA edition. As soon as you said dad in an American accent, I tapped out. The gods can eat my shorts, said Bart, son of Homer, the Odyssey 2026. Surprised they forgot the rap music. By the way, Travis Scott is in this. What the fuck? I paid nothing to see this trailer, and I already want my money back. I didn't realize the Greeks actually used Viking longships 2,000 years before they were invented. Impressive immersion. Official countdown. Is that a threat? Came for the ratio, stayed for the comments. The California Odyssey, starring Danny DeVito as Michael Jordan. This time, Matt Damon needs to be rescued, not from Mars, but from the movie, right? Over and over and over and over again. It is getting demolished. It is getting demolished. And look, yes, it is Christopher Nolan's most disliked trailer ever, and it's not even close. Of course it is. Of course it is. And the biggest question that I have when it comes to all of it is, what is this going to look like as a movie and in the box office? Because I'm sure it's going to have a decent opening. I really do think it'll have a decent opening, maybe one of the biggest of Nolan's career outside Batman. When you look at the amount of IMAX tickets that are already sold, how much money they're charging for those IMAX tickets. But how is it going to perform over time? What's the word of mouth going to be on this movie? Because I feel like with it being Nolan, with the subject matter, with the list of actors and actresses, I find it hard to believe that this movie will all out flop like $400 or $500 million. I could see it doing $700 to $800 million, and with the massive budget, $250 million, who knows what the marketing budget is, but at least $100 million, maybe more. You know, this movie has to make $700 million just to break even. If this movie comes in at $750, $775, barely cracking $800, I think that would be a massive disappointment for what they expected. They expected $1 billion. With this budget and this cast and the Odyssey and Chris Nolan, they 1,000% expected $1 billion for this movie. And I don't know what the general audience reaction is going to be. I can tell you that this doesn't look good. Like, this is more than just a niche section of the internet getting upset at something. This is a lot of fucking dislikes. So is that going to indicate that this is transcended just movie culture, social media space, and is out there to the wider audience? Maybe. And if it's bad enough, maybe the movie does fucking flop. Because it's going to be an interesting conversation, because there's a chance that even with these terrible casting decisions, these unforced errors, for no fucking reason other than Chris Nolan wanted to do it, there's a chance the rest of the movie is actually really, really good. So what happens if we have a couple high-profile bad castings, but a good movie aside from that? I don't know what that result will be. What if the movie, much like these castings, is nonsensical, a terrible adaptation and one that people fucking reject? Could this movie actually flop? I have my doubts. Then again, I was wrong about how bad Mando and Grogu would flop. I thought it would fail. I didn't think it would be as bad as it was. I was wrong about how Supergirl would flop. I thought it would flop. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. So maybe I'm underestimating the general audience. Maybe I am underestimating the general audience, and this thing will just fucking tank. It would be shocking for a Christopher Nolan movie to do that. But when you make these decisions on a story that is persevered through time, as long as the Odyssey has, you shouldn't be surprised when this type of backlash happens. This is overwhelming hatred for a handful of casting decisions. That's what this is. And will these decisions solely tank this fucking movie? In a couple weeks, we'll have a good idea. Right now, the numbers are ranging anywhere from, $80 to $100 million to $100 to $120 million opening domestically for the Odyssey. I have no doubt internationally it'll do decent numbers as well. But how does it look after that? How does it play after that? After they lose their premium format screens to Spider-Man? After people see this for what it is, after word of mouth gets out there, time will tell. But right now, this news is about as bad as it could get for Christopher Nolan and the Odyssey, because this thing is getting absolutely brutalized.